I suppose I ought to install the microphone. Oh, there. Oh my God, I'm showing my hairy chest again. Oh well, never mind. I will cover it in a moment. But first, let's connect the microphone. Alright, so you're going to go on there. You're going to connect to there. Okay. Technology. Alright, there we go. And there's my microphone. I'll put that back in its little bag so I don't damage it. Anyway, we are boarding this door. I've already started, that I have. And as you can see, just, well, cutting the boards to length and what have you. Obviously, they're going to have to be stained as well. I'll put a coat of nuts, or a couple of coats of nut stain on and sand it back each time. Just lift the grain. I've noticed a couple of little issues, like for instance here, where the glue that seeped out has prevented the stain. So I'll clean that back again and give that another coat. It won't matter. It'll just, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. So what we're going to do, I did mention the previous, what I did in a previous live stream, I put a Dutchman in there. Not a real human type Dutchman, but a Dutchman. But we're going to cut these rest of these boards to length. I've got one that I've glued up because the boards need to be slightly wider. So we'll carry on doing that for the moment. And we're going to use the DeWalt radial arm saw. I've already set the length. I've got to trim the ends first because they are, oh, they're not accurate. They're not square. That blade needs sharpening. I hit a nail. So, I'll do it now. Tell how blunt that is, like burning its way instead of cutting. Well, that's not so bad, where I was just trimming the end. Does it fit? Yes, it fits. Alright. I've got to do all the tuck and grooves yet. And also got to clean out the rebates as well. They can be tight end to end, but it can't be tight in their width. It's all about the girth! That's an 80-tooth blade, I've got to sharpen it. That's going to take a while, isn't it? Right, I'll go in there. Fit. Just about. Yeah, fit. That fits. Yeah. What I tend to do is, before I install anything, might be a little bit off the end that one. Before I install the board, I always put a little bit of treatment on the ends. Just took half a mil off. That's better. See there. So I've still got that area there to do. That I have. Try to do my buttons up. No one wants to see my fat belly. Oh my god, I got a broken button. Oh dear. I popped a button in my fat belly. Right, so I've got this one here, which I have glued up. It's 3 boards. The reason I've done that is the width of these boards is set effectively, but because of the this was recycled from whatever I could find, yeah. So these boards here are I was kind of fixed at that width. Didn't much choice, but which doesn't actually fit into the width of the door properly. Those. So if I put 2 more of those in, there'll be a gap. So what I've done is I'm going to make 2 of the boards slightly wider, and they can either go at the end, or I could put them, yeah, in the same position. So what I'm going to do is, once I know what my space is going to be with an expansion gap, I can cut those other 2 boards to length, and they'll just be slightly wider than what one of these boards are. Just, yeah, probably about half an inch is all. Not a lot, anyway. And these are going to have a gap in between the boards. But for expansion, at the moment, the boards are really, really dry. Really dry. They're only, under 5%. So they can expand. They're not going to shrink, but they will expand in their width. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some little spacers so I can set a distance that I want for expansion. I'm just going to use these lollipop sticks or glue spreaders. I don't want expansion up this end, so that this end can be tight within reason. And then I'll just move these along and put in there and that in there. It should be, yeah, that'd be enough. About 4 mil, 3 or 4 mil. Yeah, do the same with that one. Now, timber can move, oh, quite a bit tight on the ends, about 8% in their width. Now, at the moment, I would say it isn't in a neutral position because it's so dry, I can't imagine it shrinking anymore. I really can't. Like I say, it's under 5%. I've put the meter on it and checked it. Now this looks like red oak to me. Some of this does. That looks a bit like red oak. We're in France as well, so it's a bit strange. But it looks like red oak. It won't matter. You won't see it. Once I put the stain on it, you won't know. Right, now I've got a distance here. So I've got that distance here. I've got to measure that in half effectively, allowing for a couple of expansion gaps. So I'll grab a tape. Where is a tape? You never find a tape when you want one. I know where my tapes are. They are in my tape drawer. What a good place to put it. Looking for a decent tape. Oh. That'll do. That will do. Now, give you an idea. This is right, I've used Cascamite wood glue on the building of this door. And I use it where I know there's going to be no movement. For instance, joints and stuff like that. All the joints done this was done with Cascamite, powder resin wood glue by Eureka Glues. Now, this is just the powdered glue mixed with water, and that's what's like when it goes off. All right, it is quite hard and brittle. Where this is good in a joint is you get no compression in the joint. So if there's any lateral movement that way, the joint still stays fairly tight because the glue that can fill the spaces in the joint will remain hard and the joint will remain solid. It's like having a plastic shim all the way around the joint if the joint is a little slack. These aren't slack, these are tight, you know, these were very good joints actually, in fact. I was quite pleased with them. So, but yeah, but I use Cascamite, powder resin wood glue. It's good for joints, all right? But what I won't be using it for is inserting these boards because I want the boards to be able to expand and contract. So they are, what I normally do when I do this sort of stuff, I'll use some form of flexible adhesive. You could use PU wood glue, like the foam wood glue. That's okay, but it makes a mess. It'll ooze out everywhere. And that can expand and contract enough, right? Or no glue whatsoever and just use mechanical fixings or a mastic. Quite often I'll use polyurethane mastic, cork to stick in place. So that'll stick like hell and also that'll allow the movement. If I use any mechanical fixings, I always put them in one fixing in the middle of each board. And that way it can expand and contract from the middle of the board and not push one way or push that way. Because if I say, for instance, fix this board here on one edge, what will happen is this board will expand in one direction. And that way you have, from one point, you'll double the amount of expansion. But if you fix it in the middle of the board, you are sharing the expansion. So there's less of it. And the board will remain in its position effectively. I'll just grow a little bit wider, but in both directions. So you must allow a little bit of growing room. It needs a bit of growing room. And that's what I've done with these little sticks here. If anything, that's a little, could probably done a little bit wider than that, which I will do when I install them. But that's good enough for me to work out what the width of these two last boards need to be. So it's 230. 230, so that's one. So it's 230. It's 115. And then I want to remove a little bit for each, two expansion gaps. So from 115, so if I do 110, 109, 109. So effectively I want each of these boards to be 109. See, currently these boards are about at 98. So I just want them to fractionally wider. So I'll set up on the old table saw and cut them before I clean off the excess glue. So over to the table saw. Oh, 56 people. Hello, JBT Online. I hope you are well. So I'm just going to come over here to the old table saw. Make sure I don't put the camera in the way, so I end up, it'd be a rather stupid thing to do, pushing the camera off the actual bench. Won't be the first time I've done it, mind. I need to have a light over here. I need to look at my lighting in this workshop. I've got that. I'll put that on. That'll help. Oh, it's my darling wife. What have you got? Oh, what have you got? Are you doing conserves?
Jam.
What sort of jam is this, my darling? Plum. Is it? Oh, it isn't plum though, is it? It's Mirabello or something. I know something. It's like a Mirabelle, but less sweet. Wow.
It isn't too sweet, is it? It's quite.
No, I like the sharpness.
Quite sharp.
Because we tend to just put it in yogurts. It's great in yogurts. God, that's not.
13 jars.
That's nice. Yeah, that's really nice. Oh, a friend brought mine. We have got Mirabelle trees. I just realised I've dropped a bit of one of my radio mics. So let's stick this back in this little case so I don't lose it. It's a little cover. So I need this to be set at, I'll do 110 and then take a tiny amount off with hand plane. So as you know, 111, I'll take them. Bloody glasses everywhere. Right. So that's 110. I'll do just this fraction over, allow for the hand plane. I'll do. Oh, hang on, what happened there? You've got to watch out when you. That's it. Oh! I've got my pushy what's it, and a push stick if I need it. My push pad, and then we've got this board over here. Now, I glued this one up last night. I ain't cleaned the glue off yet, but I will do. I'll do it in a minute. So effectively, you see what I mean there? That is the width for the boards. So let's go for it. Remember, these are a little bit wider than they need to be. I've got to clean the glue off them as yet. And I could just carry on from there and just go slightly further over the glue line, which might be a good idea to do that. I might work off that side. And the reason being is I have a bit more stability if I have a little bit more wood on the glue line. It's not going to make a huge amount of difference. Be more of it on the rebate. Actually, no, it won't. No. I'll go this way. Oh no, I will go this way because the staple edge there, so I'll do that. that's the one I want to use. So I use a scraper and just remove that excess glue. And then clean the edges up with a hand plane. Could just run it through the thicknesser and get that excess off. But let's use the old scraper. All need to clamp it down though, or put it in the vise. If I can get it in the vise without nipping my fingers. You can use a cabinet scraper for that, or a hook. A little hook up here we can use. If you sharpen it in a similar fashion as you would do a cabinet scraper. So we might a little triangle scraper like that one. Get rid of most of that, and then finish off with cabinet scraper. A blunt one in this case. Easy sharpening now. Where is my... what have I... oh, there it is.
I'm just going to see if you've got a big hook for tomatoes and pickles yet.
Okay, then.
Are you still live?
I'm live. Yeah.
Because in France, that's how the...
We exchange stuff, don't we, Dom?
So she gave us some plums, so I'll maybe give her some tomatoes.
Cool. Say hello to Violet for me. She's very good, she is. She quite often gets us eggs and stuff. There you go, that's better. So when you use an old cabinet scraper, you want to get a little bit of bend in there. Sort of control that. And create little shavings. That's not as sharp as it could be, but it's good enough for what I'm doing. Good idea, little tiny thin shavings. Just with a camera scraper. It makes it really, really, really smooth. Especially if you go the right direction of the grain, which I'm not. I've got to do that on the other side as well. You need to remove that, because when I put that old dye on, what happens? I'll end up with like light bits where the dye ain't soaked in. So I do need to get rid of the... like I said, I could have put it through the thickness there. And at a risk of taking too much off in there. Make my board thinner than the others. There you go, is that one? I haven't got to worry about that end so much because I'll be cutting it off in a minute. So, how you sharpen your cabinet scraper, you do very similar with little triangle. You can use a file, you create the burr effectively with the file. It's a very smooth file, or diamond sharpen, you can do it, you still create a burr. And then you work it with your steel. And this steel is literally just a little wooden handle, a hole drilled in it, and a new, in this case, a 10mm drill bit. And that works perfectly fine for us. It's hard, isn't it? It's high-speed steel. It works. And if it works, it's not wrong. There are scrapers out there as well. You've got Scarston scrapers. I was wondering if I've got one sitting there. No, I haven't. So you've got Scarston scrapers. They basically have a replaceable cutter in them. So all sorts of scrapers. All different shapes and sizes. That's good. This is a recycled wood door. So just use what we got. Number 7 Bailey. with the old saw cuts. I'll just use a router. I could use a router plane, but we'll just use a router to create the grooves for the T&G. Because the loose tenon, I prefer doing loose tenon indoor panels. It allows more freedom of movement. Not that kind of freedom of movement. But I ain't got a problem with that either. I live in France after all. There you go. You might have noticed I don't put my hand on the knob, or very rarely. I might put it behind there sometimes. Depends on what I'm doing. But I've literally just got my fingers here. Right, and use that one as a fence. Make sure you don't put near the edge because that could get sharp. But just like that. And that is, for me, my preferred way of controlling the plane. That's that one. Just really cut to length. Probably from that face to there. So that's going to be cut to length for that one. Hello, Chrome Dome. Hi, and Huck 33. Oh, yeah, you sound like a Norfolk boy. That's me. I am a Norfolk boy. That I am. So, just got to scrape the rest of that off. Yeah. If you know Norfolk at all, I was born in Fort St Andrew, near Norwich, and I lived most of my life in Salhouse. It's a little village not far from Wroxham, and Woodworking, places like that. And we had a brewery just down the road at the Fern Feathers, a Woodford brewery, very handy. And a restaurant called the Fern Feathers. I haven't lined this one up quite as well as the other one. So I feel that like slight ridge there. Don't forget to boot the old like button. Help the channel, you know. There you go. I need to make sure I get rid of that glue. Obviously, that'll create like a patchy finish where there. Look at that. If I put that little spray up, that'll be sitting on the rebate. That'll be right. Just high one side, never. See, that one's a lot flat really, a lot flatter. The bit about triangle scrapers is that you can just keep spinning it around. So if it starts getting blunt on one face, just turn it around to the adjacent face and hope that'll be a bit sharper, like that one is. I'm just levelling the board, just going on the outside. Blunt. That's it. Not really. Hand blade now. suppose I should really cut these two boards to length. And I'll drop them in and decide whether or not I need to create a bit more free space for expansion. Remember, your wood only expands in its width. It's all about the girth, you know, the girth. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. It doesn't have to, well, I've already done. It doesn't have to be perfect when you plane the edge, because there's literally going to be a gap there, so you wouldn't see it. Right, let's go and cut this to length. La da da da, la da da da. Just messing about in the workshop. Now, when I normally do a boarded door panel, like this, I normally have the boards run straight to the bottom. So you walk it through, it runs straight out. I can really do it on this one because she doesn't want a threshold. So we have the threshold strip. So I need to make sure I have some bulk at the bottom. So I basically put a cross rail in instead. This is one of the reasons why I want to treat the ends of the boards, just in case. Hang on. Put the... What's that facing? Oh, that's right. That's good. That's good. See if it's right size, see if it fits. Yep, that's in there. Put it the other way around. No, it would be that way around. So that one fits. Not where it's going to go, but that fits. Need to see whether the other one's going to fit. Let's cut the other one to length. I don't waste no wood, so all my scraps, I tend to hoard them. I'm a scrap wood hoarder, me. I think about, what can I make for Etsy at my scraps? God, I really got to sharpen that blade now. I hit the nail with it, that's what happened. There's no teeth loss, I just took the edge off. So a Mecha Bar blade, it's a good quality blade, but it's blunt. Does that fit? Will it be the right length for me? I think it's the right length, it's going to be the right width as well. So I want to increase the size of these gaps. Oh, I've got glue down the edge there. I've got to get rid of that. It's not necessarily where the boards are going to be anyway. Oh, take that whisker off it, maybe. I don't want it tight, because I want the water to be able to, well, move. If I get, I don't want correct capillary. Drawing water in. I actually feel that saw needs setting up again. That's the thing about the radial arm saws, the DeWalt ones, they do tend to move over time. That's better, that's perfect. So we're going to have a gap there. That's not the right, they're not in the right position at the moment because these two boards are wider than the other ones, so I just want to make sure I've got adequate distance between them. Yes, it's going to work out about right. I might actually run. Yeah, all right. It's just, there's glue in this edge, so what I'll do is I'll take the arrows off once I decide which one's going to the end. So this one's probably going to go over there. That's probably going to go where it. I just have the wide ones on the ends. Might look quite neat. Let's see, that's the wide board. So I'll put this one over here. God, it's really hot today. I'm sweating like a good one I am. One day I'm going to do a naked woodworkers day. Have my naked wood out, I will. Because it's too darn hot. I don't know what the temperature here is at the moment. I've got a thermometer over there, look at that. Come on, this way. I'll put it on the tight side, I might ease that one up. Do 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 do. Oh, have a nice trip. There. Just messing about in the workshop. Need a jingle. That's what I need a jingle. Right. There. Just move that out of the way. The only thing when you work with like old wood, you tend to get some gnarly stuff, and you have to, think outside the box what you're going to do with it. And generally speaking, I put like Bowman's in. I've got one over there, a Dutchman, bow tie. There, that one over there, and then that wider one should just fit in over there quite happily. We'll see. I've got to decide where I'm going to put take the arrows off it. Well, that fits lovely. Yeah, that's about right width. So I'll basically balance out all the slots and what have you. I've got to create the loose tenons, or not, sort of loose tongue and groove. So it's effectively got to have a strip of wood that joins the boards, each of these boards together. And the idea behind any water that hits it runs in, but runs down the strips of wood and out of the bottom. So that's why you don't want to have it too tight. If these boards are too tight, the water can't get out, can it? And where's it going to go? It's going to go in. That will basically be what happens. Also, even this bottle there and this board here, the ones near the outside edges, I put a groove in them as well. Not this is the same groove, as deep, but it creates like a water bar. So any water creeps past, it goes down and it goes out. Now, like I mentioned a minute ago about this particular door, I've put a quite tall bottom railing, which is about 7 inches, which is what's that, 150 to 175 mil from there to there, right? So that's wider than what the width is correct. But normally I have these boards running right through, so I have a thinner cross rail than this, and then these boards go right over and attach to it, and you have your water bar on that. Now, because we're putting this, I mentioned a minute ago about the we're putting out a threshold strip in. It's part of the door, effectively. I need the bulk at the bottom here, so I can't really do what I normally would do. So I just basically rebade it in, which is fine. But I want to make sure that if any water does get down there, if it does hang in there, I don't rot the bottom of the door out. So I want to make sure I put some treatment on that before I actually put the door together. Now, they're the sort of things you don't get, right? You're going to a factory, buy a factory bought door. They're not going to do that for you, are they? They're not going to go around and treat the ends of all the boards and stuff like that before they're put in. They're just going to put the door together and expect whoever's putting the finish on. And that finish is not going to get everywhere. It's not going to get into all the grooves. It's not going to get to all these nooks and crannies. Whereas if you're building something for yourself, or you can, or you get an artisan to do it for you, you can instruct them to say, can you make sure that you treat all the boards before they go together? It's the end grain. The end grain is like those little tubes, which suck up the moisture. And that moisture then, is just potentially rot. Or you just turn it black, turn your boards black. So you want to prevent that from happening. That's one of the good reasons to use things like Casca white paddy resin wood glue, because it's a resin wood glue, and it tends to seal the ends of those little tubes, less likely to soak up the water. Unlike PVAs, or yellow glues and stuff like that, Cascite is more water resistant than those glues. Well, like I showed you, it goes hard. This one, which is one I mixed up yesterday, can you see me? You're not going to do that with PVA, that'll be a bit elastic. This stuff is, it's a resin. It's what it is, it's a resin. And we see the colour of that. It's because I mixed it using a water-based wood dye. And it allowed me to put a little bit of colour into the glue, so you don't end up with a white line. That's the thing about Cascamite. It will, when you sand it, it does tend to look a bit white, even though it's relatively clear. But yeah, there is a bit of an issue. You get white glue joints, and they look terrible. So I tend to put a little bit of wood dye in it, and sometimes a bit of water with the wood dye. Depends how dark I want it to be. In fact, I did do a dark one as well the other day. Is it about here? No, I've chucked that already. So yeah, the wood dye is literally this stuff, Bras Noir. It's a walnut dye. That is it. Is it made from walnuts? I wouldn't be surprised. Doesn't say. Fancy attain the darkness. Oh, it's an actual wood dye, so it's good. It works. It works. So we will be putting a lacquer on this door, but it's a satin finish lacquer eventually. Anyway, hello, Billy. Is Cascamite available in the United States online? You probably have got a version of it. What you want is it's a urea formaldehyde glue. So make sure you mix it, you wear dust masks and stuff like that. And obviously if you're sanding it, make sure you wear a dust mask. Once it's wet and it's gooey, it's fine, it's not, because it is obviously going to be carcinogenic, so you need to be careful of that. But I thought it is, because it's used a lot in industrial purposes, like for instance making different types of plywoods and stuff like that. Like for instance, marine ply, the quality of the veneers are better, but also the glue is better. It's more water-resistant glue. And urea formaldehyde is literally it's very similar, to the water-hardening resins that are used in that bandage that they wrap around your legs if you break your leg. It's very similar to that. And obviously, that sets quicker. But you get about in this weather, you'll get about 30 minutes to an hour working time, which is quite a lot, really. But then after that, it's impossible. It's just a bit of goo. So, yeah, but then it'll be set pretty hard within a couple of... it won't be like this, it'll still be flexible. Even in this weather we've got at the moment, it'll still be relatively flexible, but your joint will hold up. But yeah, within 12 hours, it'll be rock solid. It's a really good glue, and it's water resistant. Now, I first was made aware of this by my father when we were building boats. That and aerolite glue, which is a 2-pack glue. But this stuff is more reasonably priced, and for most people, it does a really good job. And when you get used to mixing it, it's really quick. And you just mix what you need. You don't overdo it. You just mix what you need as you go. And it's when you mix in small quantities, it's actually very quick and easy. The fact that you can actually use it to, this is that's Cascamite. And I'm quite lucky because the ladies of Cascamite, they send it over to me because I was slagging it off for a bit when it was being made by Polyvine. What was happening is that it was useless. It was during the pandemic. They changed the formula and they ruined it and wrecked its reputation. Eureka Glues took it over and they reformulated it as near as they can get to the original formulation by Humble, which is very good. And this now is really good. And this is by Eureka Glues. It don't say Eureka Glues on it, does it? Oh. Why have they got their logo on? That's a bit strange. But yeah, their logo is literally, there we go, a little black and yellow one like that. The name that sticks. I can see that on there. Very good. Very good, very good. They send it to me, because I was whining about the stuff in videos because they wrecked it. They didn't, the other people wrecked it. And then these people got in contact with me and said, do you want to give it another go? So they sent me some over and says, yep, I'm happy. I was happy because that was my go-to glue until it was ruined. So, yeah, it's back. So if anyone does use Cascamite and they got turned off by it, just make sure you don't buy anything by Polyvon, and you shouldn't be able to anyway now because it'll be too old anyway. So, yeah, Eureka glues, and it's brilliant. Really good glue. Anyway, that's enough about that. Whether it's available in the United States, I can't say. But if you look up, for instance, powdered resin wood glues, and the active ingredient is urea formaldehyde, you should be able to find it because it's used in a lot of industry. I didn't think I could get it here, but there is equivalents here in France. So, yeah, it's just under different names. It's just the thing, is Cascamite and they're brand names, aren't they? You know, just like Coca-Cola. Oh, the audio's had a problem with the audio. Oh, crikey. Fix the audio. It's okay now. It might have just been a bad, what's it? It wasn't communicating properly. Treating the boards are only common sense. Yeah, exactly. It's to me. But the thing is, you see, when they build this stuff, they build it for speed, don't they, in these factories? They've got to make money, you know? And they think, so, well, if it lasts 10 years out the guarantee, I suppose. And I don't think about that. I don't want in 10 years' time someone saying my door rotted. You know? I don't want that. Chrome Dome's a scrap order like me. Hey, hello, Richard Black Dog. I hope you're well. I always wear a hat. I don't know why. I keep dust at my head. Off my head, really. I clipped it the other day as well. I'll say that now. I look at Stephen Miller. Oh, hello, Mix Woodwork Wonders. Oh, you've got a channel. There's another channel on here called Mix Woodwork Wonders. I need to check you out, mate. I'll write that down because I forget. Da, 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 da. Mix Woodwork Wonders. Cool. Don't forget to beat the old like button while you're here. Be very, very kind of you. Too close to what goes that? Right, anyway, what's my next step? How are these boards sitting in there? Some of them that feel like they're raised, but that's because of the rebate. I created the rebates by gluing the wood on. I didn't actually rebate because it's quite hard to get the wood, the right, you know, wide pieces of wood out of the recycled material. For obvious reasons. Because they're gnarly bits. Even when they are gnarly bits, I've put in, like I said, but these little bow, I put one in there. Little bow tie. There's a little one in there. Yeah, stuff like that. It just adds a bit of character as well to the door. Doesn't affect its structure. I've already fit the lock. That's already in. I'm probably going to fit 2 more deadlocks as well, top and bottom. Originally, they wanted them 3-way lock things that you put on plastic doors. You mustn't do it. When I say mustn't, I don't think it's a good idea on oak doors. I've done it before, okay? But the problem with those things is they don't have the power or the strength in them to pull the door to. Of an oak door, that is. They're okay with plastic doors, even aluminium doors, but when it comes down to fairly rigid oak doors, 50mm thick, you just can't pull it to. It tries, but it just makes it like, you know, it makes it a nightmare to close, and people are like, I can't close my door, because you're trying to do all 3 at the same time. They are all right for stormproof profile doors as well, because a stormproof profile door has a massive gap. You can't see it, because the way the profile works, you have a massive gap. Let me show you on my blackboard what I mean about a stormproof profile. It's the same profile you'll get on a plastic or an aluminium door. For argument's sake, if this was the profile, let's say, for instance, this is your door frame, okay, like so, all right, and then you got your actual door. Well, a stormproof profile comes like that on the door, yeah? So there can be a gap like that. between the door and the frame. And obviously you'll have your little gaskets in there as well. There's a lot of free movement in there. Huge amount. Sometimes when I see these doors fitted, where I had to do remedials, the door, effectively, if that's the frame, is like trapezoid inside the frame, like that kind of thing. That's exaggerated, obviously. It's not actually in the frame very exaggerated. But you can't see it necessarily because it's hidden behind the stormproof. It's don't get me wrong, for plastic doors it's ideal because it kind of works fine for that. But you don't do that on these sort of doors. On oak doors like this, you don't do that. You just have a traditional rebated frame with rubbers in and stuff, gaskets. So I've created like a little. You've got your water bar, and then you've got your little groove here in the rebate. This is a cut rebate, it's not a groove rebate. And a little cut in the rebate there, which will take the rubber gasket. So yeah. And then we've got. This is a little trick for you, okay? If you make a door and you want to hang it, and you're going to put 3 or 4 hinges on it, don't fit all 3 or 4 hinges. Prepare them and put all your mortises in for your hinges, like I've done there, but only install 2 of them, okay? Especially in a wooden door, right? And the reason for that is, if you're on your lonesome and you're trying to install the door, you try and line up all those hinges on a wooden door when there might be a little bit of movement in it. It's a nightmare. So what you do is you pop them on the top and bottom hinges, and then you screw the hinges into place. You put the door in the open position, and you've got them already screwed on one side of the door, because you keep it on one side. Like, for instance, all the hinges are on this door, on this side, as you can see, with stainless steel hinges there. They're already on all the way along, 4 of them, okay? 4 because it's a heavy door. And I put 1 at the top and 1 at the bottom, and then I'll pull in the frame or the door together using screws and what have you, the other hinges. Just in case there's any movement, between you building the door and putting it into place. The other thing about having 4 hinges is it holds the door true, holds everything to the frame, so it doesn't actually, move too much, and then they're all gappy. So you end up with a nice shut line along the edge of your door, and you maintain that. The other thing you must do with any door like this, put a leading edge on the door. Let me explain that as well. Quite important. Very important, in fact. If you're doing a traditional rebate, right? I don't know what the hell. I still lost my flipping rule. Can you remember I lost my rule last time? I put it down somewhere and now I can't find it. Did I put it on stairs? No. Did I put it over there? No. What the hell did I do with that? Anyway, I'll have to do a freehand, wouldn't I? So it won't be very uniform. I could use this bit of wood here again. How the hell did I do that? Oh, found it. Why did I put that up there? Anyway, let's plonk you there for a second. See if I can explain this. There you go. Right, I'll use the bottom bit of the board here. So, okay, for argument's sake, this is your door. All right, think of that being, a rectangle, which is going to be sitting within your frame, like so. Same on this side. This is not to scale, obviously. Now, currently, right, we have a square. This is 90 degrees, that's 90 degrees, right? They're perpendicular, right, on the end of this door. What you got to realise is the distance from this corner to this corner is greater than the width. Than the width of your door. Then from there to there, it's greater. All right? So from there to there is greater than from there to there. So what happens is if you hinge, say for instance, on here, okay, and you open your door, you'll be at an angle, which means from the fixed point to this point here, you could catch on here and literally catch on there. Oh, shit. Literally catch on there, all right, as you open and close the door. So what you do is, all right, you plane your door on the edge at a slight angle, and that compensates, not as much as I'm exaggerating, all right? You do that on both sides, on both edges, on the hinge, side and also on your shut side as well. And you, to maintain a nice tight, you know, shut line here, you get that tight here then, you see, and the same here, you then cut, you know, you plane that back at a slight angle. It's only like, what, about a mil and a half difference from there to there. You don't do it too much because it looks ridiculous. And also then your lock won't sit very flat because effectively that'll be screwing in straight, perpendicular from the edge, and you have one edge sticking out, and it'll look ridiculous. So you know, you just, it's only a little bit. Literally, I dropped chalk all over the floor. Let's put that back up there. Shall I go and get my chalk? My big fat chalk that's on the floor. Oh dear. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Alright, stick it back on there. Oh, there you go. There you go. I just thought I'd just explain that. Why you put a leading edge on a door, whether it's an external door or an internal door, if it's in a traditional rebate or in a door lining, you always put a leading edge. I know people don't, and I know when you go these Wilton home sites that they don't. I know that because I've worked on them, all right? But technically speaking, you're supposed to put a leading edge. And also, be very careful if you're using those cardboard doors, that you make sure you put the door the right way round. You see, they've got a right and a left. One edge will have a slightly thicker strip in to hang the door on. The other edge will have a lock block, so a place for the lock to go. So if you think, let's say for instance, you hang your door, install your handles, and then all of a sudden, the handle pulls off. All the screws pull out of the door. It's because there's no wood there. It's just hollow. And it'll be hollow, you know, on the hinge side of the door. It'll have a slightly wider piece of wood on the hinge side of the door. But on the side with the lock, I say that's not screwed in yet, but on the side with the lock is a Euro lock. This is, I've got to put my holes in this yet. There will be a block in there for you know, for your handles too. I'm talking about the cardboard sandwichy, you know, egg box type doors, bloody old things. I'm no lover, definitely no lover of them things. I'm not. So anyway, how long have I been live for? I'll do about an hour or so. My output volume on my recent videos is too low. Okay, I need to check that. I do watch the videos, so I don't understand why. I've got to remember my speakers are pretty good on the stuff that I've got. Has anyone else had that problem? An artist, you're not. Not affect the joke, anyway. My output volume is too low. Okay, I'll check that, Stephen. Have you tried that on other people's videos as well? I imagine you have, haven't you? I don't know, really. There I come. Nice one. I'm going to have to go and get to the next stage. I'm going to... What's time now? It's about an hour. Actually, I'm going to call it now because it will be almost an hour anyway. I've done about 54 minutes, so that's enough for a minute. Because I need to go live on the other channel as well. But yeah, I'm going to... My next stage with this, I'll go live doing it actually. We'll put all the grooves in, cut all the loose tongues, and then look at installing the boards. I might do a little bit more prep before I go live on that, like for instance, make sure my actual rebate is clean and the board's exactly the right thickness. I've got a feeling they might be a little bit on the thick side in places, but I can't really tell that until I've cleaned up. Like for instance here, it's proud. Here it's almost flush, but not quite. If that's too thick, if the water runs off here, it's going to end up sitting in there. I don't want that. I might even put a water bar across there. I've done that before. Sort of pretty one, you know. And then I've got to make sure there's enough clearance at the bottom here. All right. At the moment, some of these boards are too tight. Okay. I need to make sure there's a gap at the bottom. Fix tight to the top, but make sure there's a gap at the bottom so any water gets in, it can get out. It's got to be able to get out. And yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. But for now, toodaloo. Cheers, guys. And girls, yeah, if there is any there, I don't know. Toodaloo.